If you're interested in mankind, if you're interested in society and how it should function, then you would do well to study the past.
There are certain moments in history where the human spirit just kind of bubbles up and goes.
Whether we're talking about democracy, art, philosophy, it doesn't really matter what the subject is. It begins in Greece.
The school acts as a gateway to not just a different place, but sometimes a different time.
We bring Greece's past to life to really help shape the world's tomorrow. Preserving, protecting, promoting all aspects of Hellenism from ancient times till today. And we've been doing it for 135 years.
There were educated businessmen, lawyers, financiers who truly believed that the study of the Greek past was of a great good for the general public and that it needed to be advanced. We exist by virtue of the philanthropic efforts of individuals like them. We had pioneer women archaeologists leading research teams in Greece. We are international, multicultural, and intercontinental in terms of the networks of collaborations that are carried out.
We're a consortium of almost 200 leading academic institutions in the United States, all of whom support the school.
We draw from that membership, whether in Texas or Hawaii or Massachusetts or Florida, to bring people here.
In a place that has, 3 world-class libraries within 100 meters. When you're in Athens, it feels like the center of the universe.
I would rather do this here at Athens than anywhere else because the major monuments are here and it's very inspiring.
You feel what a contemporary Greek would have felt standing on the Acropolis with the Parthenon right next to you.
What you're doing is creating the next generation. They're all going to be high school teachers, they're going to be professors, they're going to be scholars, and they are the ones who are going to pass on our understanding of antiquity. We have the pieces that were necessary for the working of the democracy, and those are the people of Athens speaking to you directly over thousands of years.
We have about 1.5 million items digitized.
All of that information can really be disseminated to new audiences, to the global classroom.
The American School gives you a place where you can kind of explore your own passions in a way. You have people who are so passionate about the material, they create tools to study it. When you see what can be done at a single site, then you realize, well, why can't we do this across all of Greece and have all of Greece accessible in that way?
There's hardly a part of Greece that some American school project is not operated in.
We've got 300,000 catalogued objects to educate our students, but also for research so that we can come up with better interpretations. We're also developing ways to present this all to the public. So we're creating a management plan to create an archaeological and ecological park, educational programs for children in the States, which we translate into Greek so that students in Greece can also use those same materials.
The collection is about the history of Greek genius through the ages. It is very important to find ways in which to attract people, to make them understand that there is value in the old books and secrets that are hidden in there.
Our mission is essentially a rescue mission. We're creating time capsules for future generations.
It is important to be able to share this through exhibitions, scholarly presentations.
We carry out many synergasias, collaborative projects with archaeologists in the different inspectorates of the Ministry of Culture. We conduct research together and publish together.
We're at a moment of revolutionary change in archaeological science.
Using sophisticated techniques, we dig deep into the past.
We can now tell not only what a person had in his last meal, but where he lived.
I guess I've always been pretty interested in different things, but the school gives you the opportunity to really explore all of those things.
You come over as an American and you leave feeling much more like a Greek. You really do get a second home. Το δεύτερο σπίτι.
We always hoped that in time we would uncover the secrets of ancient materials, that we would be able to look inside solid objects, reconstruct vanished landscapes, and lost faunnal histories. That time has come. Welcome to the future of archaeology. The Malcolm Wiener Laboratory is committed to supporting the academic community with scientific methods that provide new context to archaeological, philological, and historical research. We have sponsored over 150 projects and facilitated researchers from more than 15 countries through continuously updated, state-of-the-art resources, offering unique insights in the fields of bioarchaeology, geoarchaeology, archaeobotany, zooarchaeology, and materials science. Through collaboration with leading laboratories, institutions, and academics in Greece and beyond. Through fellowships, through interdisciplinary education and training in the heart of Greece and on the main campus of the American School of Classical Studies at Athens.
In the beginning was the Word. Then he spoke, and the sea was born. And I saw, and I marveled. And in it he sowed small worlds in my image and likeness. Stone steeds with manes erect, and serene amphora, and dolphins slanting backs. Ios, Sikinos, Seriphos, Milos. Each word a swallow to bring you spring in the midst of summer, he said. Greece is a small country, but its tradition is immense.
Καλησπέρα σας. Κυρίες και κύριοι, αγαπητοί συνάδελφοι και φίλοι. Είμαι η Bonna Wescoat, Διευθύντρια της Αμερικανικής Σχολής Κλασικών Σπουδών στην Αθήνα. Με μεγάλη χαρά σας καλωσορίζω εδώ απόψε στην ετήσια συνάντησή μας. Είναι τιμή μου απόψε που μοιράζομαι μαζί σας το έργο της Αμερικανικής Σχολής κατά τον τελευταίο χρόνο. Στη συνέχεια, η Μαρία Georgopoulou, Διευθύντρια της Γεναδίου Βιβλιοθήκης, θα μιλήσει με θέμα Windows into the Collector's Mind, the Scrapbooks of Joannes Gennadius, στο πλαίσιο του ερτασμού των 100 χρόνων της Γεναδίου Βιβλιοθήκης. Esteemed colleagues of the ministry and ephemerias, trustees, overseers, and members of the managing committee of the American School, dear colleagues, friends, and students, welcome to the annual open meeting of the American School. I also welcome those of you who are online. It's so good to see you here. I am Bonna Wescoat, director, and it's my honor to share tonight with you the work of the American School over the last year, after which Maria Georgopoulou, the director of the Gennadius Library, will speak on Windows into the Collector's Mind, the Scrapbooks of Joannes Gennadius, in celebration of the centenary of the Gennadius Library. The first section of our open meeting is devoted always to people, and thanks as well. On behalf of the American School, I extend my heartfelt thanks to the Ministry of Culture and the Minister, Lina Menzoni, Secretary General of Culture, Georgios Daskalou, Director General of Antiquities, Olympia Vikatou, and all of the directorates and efforts that support our work. We are also grateful to our trustees, overseers, managing committee, cooperating institutions, and the many dedicated members, alumni, and generous donors who promote the work of the school. We take this moment also to honor the memory of those of our community whom we've lost this year, including J. Michael Clark, John Fisher, Frank Frost, James Hicks, Caroline Hauser, Jack Kroll, Gilbert Lawal, Ian McPhee, Mary Moore, Thalia Pandiri, James Russell, Bill Scott, and Mary Kutubaki Shaw. Their absence is deeply felt. Now, the ancient Greek gods were immortal but not eternal, and so too are some of our staff. This year, Niamh Michelapoulou retired after 37 years of service. As manager of Loring Hall, her dedication and kindness to our members made a lasting impact on our community. And while Niamh is irreplaceable, we have a new chapter in Loring Hall 2.0 with Demosthenes Pandalous, who has already created a warm and lively atmosphere. It was also time to honor another deeply valued colleague, Craig Mawsey, for his 45 years of dedication to the Agora excavations. Craig literally had a hand in every aspect of the Agora's operation as a world-class photographer, miraculous handyman, and beloved friend to all who worked with him. And the American School is a unique institution. Our consortium of nearly 200 colleges and universities in North America appoint representatives to a managing committee that oversees the school's academic programs and research facilities. Steering that ship is no easy task, and we're grateful to Mark Lawal for his care and dedication as he completes his 10th year as chair of the managing committee. Mark has overseen institutional growth, the COVID pivot, and the expansion of our academic mission. And as we thank Mark, we also welcome the next chair of the managing committee, Kathleen Lynch, no stranger to the school through her work in the Athenian Agora and her role as the vice chair of the managing committee. Each year, the Alumni Association presents the Aristeia Award to an alum who has offered exceptional service to the school. It's my pleasure to recognize the recipient of the 2026 award, Timothy Winters, Distinguished Professor of Classics at Austin Peay State University, an extraordinary teacher admired not only for his deep command of Greek literature, epigraphy, and archaeology, but also for his love of Greece, ancient to modern. And our gala is an opportunity to honor major contributors to the study of the Greek world. In 2025, we honored the Ecumenical Patriarchate with the Gennadius Library Prize in recognition of its enduring contributions to the preservation, study, and transmission of the tenets of Hellenism through the centuries. We premiered a short film, Guardians of Hellenism, the Ecumenical Patriarchate of Constantinople, which includes an interview with His All Holiness Ecumenical Patriarch Bartholomew. And this film has received an extraordinary number of honors at various film festivals. This year's gala, we are honoring archaeologist Jack L. Davis with the Athens Prize for his outstanding contributions to the advanced knowledge of ancient Greece. The ore will be presented in New York at the Gala, Thursday, May 7th, so do mark your calendars for that celebration. And speaking of more celebrations, this year brings two major landmarks to the school: the 130th year of excavations in ancient Corinth and the centenary of the Gennadius Library. I therefore am going to change the traditional order of our presentation to start with excavations. Excavations. And there you see, I can't resist this image, dirty, sweaty, and happy. We thank the efforts for their support of our field projects across Greece from Crete to Thrace. And we're going to start this evening with a tribute to 130 years of excavation at ancient Corinth, narrated by the director, Christopher Pfaff.
In 1896, the American School of Classical Studies initiated excavations in ancient Corinth under its director, Rufus B. Richardson, who proposed to train young American archaeologists within the context of a major urban center. Corinth, with its long and complex history as a Greek polis, Roman colony, and later Roman provincial capital, fit the bill perfectly. With the assistance of the Greek government, land was expropriated and work began with 4 students from the American school and 100 local workmen. Within the first year, the team discovered the theater, and 2 years later, located and identified the Pyrene Fountain House. From these monuments, it was possible for the first time to correlate the topography of the site with Pausanias's well-known description of the city in the 2nd century CE. In 1901, a local museum was built with funds provided by the Archaeological Society of Athens to store the quickly growing collection of finds from the excavations. By 1940, most of the Roman Forum was uncovered and excavation expanded to the edges of the city and beyond, to the sanctuary of Aphrodite on Acrocorinth, the North Cemetery, the Asclepion, and the Potter's Quarter. The growing number of finds from these expanded excavations once again demanded a new local museum, which was designed by Stuart Thompson and dedicated in 1934. After the Second World War, excavation resumed in various areas. Work of the 1960s and 70s concentrated on pre-Roman levels in the Forum area. Roman monuments, including the Anaplaga Villa and the large Roman bath complex on the Lechaean Road, as well as the sanctuary of Demeter and Kore on the slope of Acrocorinth. Excavations in the 1980s opened up the area east of the ancient theater, which produced an impressive collection of Roman wall paintings, now in the process of conservation. The 1990s brought to light part of the Frankish settlement to the south of the museum, which will be open to the public next month. Heritage management has become an additional focus at Corinth in recent years. Corinth's Heritage Management Master Plan, created in a close collaboration between the Effort of Antiquities of the Corinthia, the American School, and Themio Papagiannis and Associates, received approval from the Central Archaeological Council in 2024 and won a European Architectural Heritage Intervention Award in 2025. As excavations at ancient Corinth continue today in the area to the northeast of the theater, our mission remains focused on training young archaeologists while shedding new light on the history of Corinth and the lives of its people. We remain committed to publication through the Corinth Excavation Series, of which 50 volumes have now appeared, and through frequent articles in the journal Hesperia. In recent years, we've expanded our educational outreach with numerous live and online programs coordinated by our Steinmetz Fellows. As we mark the 130th year of the Corinth excavations, we look back with appreciation to the contributions and achievements of our predecessors, and thank the local community and the ephemera for their generous involvement and support. We draw inspiration from them to advance our mission of excavating and interpreting ancient Corinth, and to encourage future generations to carry this vital work forward.
Thank you so much, Chris. And that's not the end of the Corinthian story. In May, the municipality of Corinth honored Charles Williams with by offering him the gold medal of the municipality presented by the mayor Nikos Stavrelis. And they also announced that they will, the square located in front of the museum will be remodeled and named after him. Turning to the recent excavations, in 2025, excavations at Corinth continued northeast of the ancient theater. Work focused on the large bench-lined marble room, which is probably part of a large bathing complex to the west and perhaps served as a apoditarium. Excavations south of the marble room revealed a late Roman foundation that likely served as the partition between two rooms with earthen floors, lying above the floor level of the marble room and connected to the same late Roman construction phase. Beneath these remains were traces of an earlier Roman features, including terracotta pipelines and an amphora, which you see here. The third area of excavation, to the west of the marble room, yielded portions of the massive brick-faced walls of two heated bathing rooms. Cleaning and minor conservation work was carried out on the pavements of the North Market, and conservation continued on the wall paintings excavated in the 1980s. Excavations in the Athenian Agora continued in the area north of Hadrian Street, partly overlying the Stoa Poikile, or painted stoa. In addition to modern Ottoman and Middle Byzantine deposits, we uncovered a modern pit located directly above the back wall of the stoa and exposing a block from the building's Tikobate. The pit was likely used to convert seashells into lime. Copious quantities of murex shells were found in later levels. Breakage patterns on the murex shells are consistent with dye production, as are fragments of murex shells preserving traces of adhering purple dye. The evidence suggests dye production at an industrial scale during the Middle Byzantine and Ottoman periods. Now, I want you to hang on to this as we go forward. Our affiliated projects continue to advance archaeological research across Greece. Excavation at Megaloperistheres Cave in Crete in 2025 opened 6 new trenches and completed 2 from 2024, clarifying stratigraphy and expanding the recovery of a Paleoloxodon skeleton. About 1/3 of the skeleton has been identified, including an exceptionally well-preserved tusk and molars. There were associated lithics, some possibly very early obsidian. Ongoing conservation and planned radiocarbon and specialist analyses will further clarify the chronology and broader significance of this important site. Work at Agia Marina Pyrgos in the northeastern Copaic Basin focused on the complex stratigraphy of the Middle Helladic to early Mycenaean settlements on the north side of the summit, the early Mycenaean Sift grave cluster on the south side of the summit, and the palatial era buildings erected on a fill of lakebed sediment in the center of the summit that appear to surround a central stucco court outlined here in red. Excavation also began on the collapsed medieval tower that gives the site its name. The LH3B buildings seem to have been devoted to dyeing, as indicated by whorls, shallow basins, nearly 700 spondylus, and a handful of murex shells. These buildings continue to yield decorated drinking and pouring vessels. A bronze spearhead was recovered from the ground floor. A new radiocarbon date in the late 9th to early 8th century BC range supports earlier evidence that the ruins were visited for drinking in the geometric period. At Lycaon in the Corinthia, work in Area A focused on an earlier building beneath the Roman porticus. The building has tile floors and has at least 3 rooms. In the room in the northwest corner of the excavated area, evidence for small-scale dye works were found. Numerous broken but joining vessels were found above a thick layer of ash mixed with murex shells. Bedded on this layer were 2 burners used to heat the murex to increase its potency for dyeing. The building in Area B, initially a warehouse, was later divided into several separate rooms and repurposed. In rooms 3 and 4, over 100 small denomination coins were found amongst fallen floor tiles. The quantity of coins suggests small-scale commerce, and with all the broken drinking cups found in room 1, the building has been tentatively identified as a taverna. At the sanctuary of Poseidon at Isthmia, a geophysical survey east of the temple, Temenos, produced evidence of both a complex of walls directly east of the East Field excavated in 1970, and a curious absence of evidence for built structures in the area aligned with the east-west axis of the temple. This open area may be connected with the area mentioned by Pausanias to have a row of athletic statues on one side and pine trees on the other. Of course, such an interpretation would need to be confirmed by excavation. In the area of the Byzantine fortress, excavation east of a passageway cut through the wall in the 14th century AD revealed clear evidence of an arched opening of a brick furnace. This feature, along with large quantities of broken glass, brick, and tubulous tiles, indicates the southern limit of a heated bathing structure that likely dates to the 1st or 2nd century CE. Excavation in the north area of the main sanctuary revealed additional evidence for the structure consisting of a large tile-lined cistern and an adjacent heated room. The discovery of diamond-shaped flooring tiles and teguli mammatai, some built in the wall that blocked the furnace on the northwest corner of the building, suggest at least 2 phases of use prior to the construction of the 2nd century AD Roman bath. Possibly this earlier structure should be associated with the reestablishment of the Isthmian Games following the founding of the Roman colony of Corinth. At Mount Lycaon, excavations at the altar on the southern peak of the mountain have produced pottery that documents the transition from the late Bronze to the early Iron Age, and the shapes and decorations shown here are representative examples. In the lower sanctuary, excavations continued in the long open-air corridor that leads to the stadium and hippodrome. The corridor was converted into a trash depot during the Hellenistic period, when the Achaea were moved to Megalopolis, and great quantities of Hellenistic material were found in it. Now, many of our affiliated projects continue to work on study and publication of previous excavation programs, as well as working on site conservation. We start on Crete, with site conservation continuing at the archaic site of Azoria. Stratigraphic and ceramic study established a detailed typology and chronology of Cretan high-necked cups from the 6th to 5th centuries BC. Various artifacts from the current excavations at Azoria were featured in the exhibition at the Archaeological Museum of Heraklion, Hecatopolis, the World of Archaic Crete. Study and site conservation also continues at Maklos, Among the most notable discoveries are the exceptionally well-preserved water conduits that belong to a water management system that operated for approximately 500 years, from 1900 to 1430 BC, supplying drinking water to the site. The other significant discovery is the concentration of murex shells, which may be linked to purple dye production. So in the space of these past 2 or 3 years, we have discovered evidence for purple dye production in Bronze Age, Roman, and Byzantine contexts. It's remarkable. We're proud to announce that Dr. James C. Wright, Professor Emeritus at Bryn Mawr College and former director of the school, is the winner of the 2027 Gold Medal Award for Distinguished Archaeological Achievement. Jim continues important conservation work at the archaeological site of Komos, consisting of systematic cleaning, wall stabilization, and backfilling. Moving to the Peloponnese, at Isthmia with the Notre Dame team, research on the archaic temple of Poseidon led to the identification of a previously unrecognized block type that now clarifies how the temple's roof was supported. So this block may not look very large or impressive. It's a small block, but with a very big story about documenting the early transition to stone architecture in Greece, in historic Greece. Right. At Nemea, the site was carefully cleared of vegetation, and in the museum, the storage rooms were reorganized, including a full inventory and repacking of the objects. While at Pylos, the excavation team has focused on conservation of finds and preparation of museum exhibits, both traveling and permanent. June 2025 marked the opening of the exhibition Kingdom of Pylos at the J. Paul Getty Museum in California, in the wake of Princes of Pylos exhibition in Kalamata in the spring. The catalog is available in both Greek and English. The finds have now returned to Greece and are being readied for the opening of the upcoming exhibition in the Hellenic National Archaeological Museum. Meanwhile, conservation and study have yielded some surprises. Among the artifacts buried with the Griffin warrior, there were not one, but 2 butcher's knives with ivory handles. This pairing reinforces the imagery of animal sacrifice depicted on a seal stone and an impression from Pylos, and seems to underscore a priestly role for the Griffin warrior. In central Greece, at Mitrou, in a late Helladic 3A level, in Building H, shell specialist Dimitra Milona found a variety of teeny marine organisms, such as small corals, in the same context as fishing weights made from pottery sherds. The assemblage captures an ancient but familiar action, fishermen shaking and cleaning their nets after fishing. And of course, Samothrace. Alas, we did not find any murex shells. Perhaps they lie in our future. However, I can share the micro and the macro directions in which our team is moving. We have been able to join fragments of a splendid 4th century red figure bell crater found half a century apart in 1971 and 2024. And we have now launched, with the ephemera and our colleague Dimitri Matsas, a LiDAR survey which is bringing to view the extensive diachronic development of the island through millennia of habitation. In closing, I want to share with you our team photos, which communicate more strongly than words how central our field projects are to our mission of training students, who will in turn contribute to the field for years to come. And that, of course, takes me to the second section of this presentation, our academic program. Education and training are the core of the American School mission. The summer programs take participants across the breadth of Greece and beyond to deepen their connection with sites, monuments, and museums, and they're framed by research questions. In 2025, the summer session program was led by Tobias Krapf, the assistant director of the Swiss School of Archaeology in Greece. Professor Jeff Bakewell of Rhodes College directed the summer seminar on People and Places of Ancient Philosophy, while Professors Georgia Tsuvala of Illinois State University and Lee Bryce of Illinois Wesleyan University ran the seminar Settlers and Traders, Corinth and its Apoikia in Western Greece and Southern Albania. The Gennadius Library held the Medieval Greek Language Summer School, directed by Professors Alexander Alexakis of the University of Ioannina and Stratos Papaioannou of the University of Crete. And the Wiener Lab continued its international education program. Professor Emeritus Paul Goldberg and Wiener Lab Director Takis Karkanis co-organized the course on the archaeological sediment micromorphology and the field school on site formation and geoarchaeology in the Athenian Agora. Dr. Ioanna Moutafi, with the support of lab manager Dr. Dimitris Mikalidis, offered a course on bioarchaeology. Turning to this year's academic program, Professor Denver Graninger continues to lead as our Mellon Professor. Denise Dimitriou, Professor of Ancient Greek History at the University of California, San Diego, and Guy Hedreen, Professor of Art at Williams College, serve as the 2025-26 Whitehead Distinguished Scholars. Their engaging presence has enriched the academic year's experience immeasurably, and I thank them both. And this year, actually all three, this year, with the generous support of Zoe Sarbanes-Pappas, we inaugurated the Zoe Sarbanes-Pappas Fellowship in the study of medieval through modern Greece at the Gennadius Library, which offers opportunities for engagement and mentoring similar to those of the Whitehead Scholars. We are delighted to have this year Karen Emmerich, Associate Professor of Comparative Literature at Princeton University, as the first Sarbanes-Pappas Fellow. The regular year program provides a unique experience offering students a year-long exploration of Greek cultural history, landscape, and archaeology from Thrace to Crete. This year's 14 members join us from 10 different universities, bringing a wide range of research interests spanning religion, literature, art, architecture, economic networks from the late Bronze Age to the Roman period. They are a confident and intrepid group, and it has been a pleasure to get to know them. In the fall, they spend time on the road. In the winter, they are centered in Athens, and in the spring, they craft their own trajectory. The trips have room. Isn't that wonderful? The trips have extra space for student associates, and through the generosity of Fred Kleiner, 2 and sometimes 3 of student associates have joined in on every trip this year. We benefit greatly from the expertise of many scholars, including our colleagues in the ephemerias and many from the American School who kindly share their time and expertise, and we're grateful to all of them for their generosity. Throughout the year, workshops provide students with valuable advice on publishing, grant writing, field projects, and the job market, both academic and adjacent fields that offer creative opportunity. And while our regular members are on the road, our predoctoral fellows in the Blagan, Gennadius, and Wiener Lab focus on research projects from the Bronze Age to the modern eras, exploring themes such as identity, migration, artistic production, memory, and the reception of the past in modern Greece. The work of our postdoctoral fellows covers an equally wide scope, and all benefit from our combined resources across the archaeological sciences and the ancient, medieval, and modern Greek studies and library resources. While numbers do not say it all, having 62 fellows working at the school this year, along with many additional student and senior associate members, demonstrates 2 core facts. Our field is a hothouse of intellectual energy, and we have incredibly generous donors willing to support that energy. This year, in addition to the Sarbanes-Pappas Senior Fellowship, we inaugurated the Ariane Kondelis Fellowship, which supports Turkish scholars working on Byzantine and Ottoman subjects. And next year, we will add 3 more fellowships, 2 sponsored by Calypso Goudi in the Wiener Lab, and a graduate student research fellowship endowed by Suzanne and Bill Murray. The school's departments continue to connect with broader audiences through a rich range of exhibitions, symposia, lectures, and concerts, and it's to that work that I turn now. In the Macriani wing, the exhibition Imagining Samothrace from Homer to the HoloLens gave way to Aphigimeta, 7 artists, 7 narratives, as the start of the Gennadius at 100 centenary celebration of the Gennadius Library. It had works of art inspired by collections from the Gennadius Library. And now, as of just a few days ago, I'm very happy to announce the opening of the exhibition commemorating the centennial of the Gennadius Library, A Century of Inspiration. The exhibition showcases 100 objects from the library's collection, accompanied by photographs and video projections, each reflecting a part of the library's history. It focuses on the people who shaped the library: directors, collectors, donors, and researchers. It celebrates the richness and diversity of the library's collections, and it emphasizes the knowledge and inspiration the library has offered over the past century. It will be open this evening for you until 10 o'clock, so if you'd like to go visit, please do. And then, of course, it will be open for the next couple of months. Another exhibition. On July 4th, 250 years ago, the American Declaration of Independence was signed in Philadelphia. This occasion offers an opportunity to remember that democracy started in ancient Athens and that it remains, 2,500 years later, a compelling form of government. We are planning an exhibition in collaboration with the United States Embassy that will showcase ancient Athenian democracy and the founding of the American nation. For the first time, the Declaration of Independence will be translated into modern Greek, and the exhibition will be mounted in American spaces, small-scale exhibition areas and gathering places in Thessaloniki, Xanthi, Pharia, Sparti, Corfu, and Piraeus. We're experimenting with some ways to enliven the presentation with a little bit of help from AI.
A great day.
Thank you, Konstantinos. Another key synergy involving the school's archives was in the Hellenic Parliament's 50th anniversary exhibition, A Constitution of Our Own, 1975 to 2025, to which we contributed rare archival material from the personal papers of Konstantinos Tsatsos, the first president of the Third Hellenic Republic. In June, we hosted the screening of the documentary Army of Lovers in collaboration with Synodoc and the Museum of Cycladic Art. The documentary tells the story of the Sacred Band, the elite and legendary Theban fighting force. In a question and answer session following with the director Lefteris Haritos, Brady Kiesling, Panagiotis Yosif, and Mariah Liston, we answered various questions about the making of the film and also the work that they did to provide documentation. We teamed up again with the Museum of Cycladic Art just last month for a conversation between the world-renowned artist Jeff Koons and Panos Yosif on Koons's Venus Lespugue and the nature of artistic inspiration. And it was really wonderful to connect things ancient and modern in this dynamic way. Throughout the year, this auditorium resonated with the virtuosity of young musicians from the Curtis Institute of Music, sponsored by the Schwartz Foundation, the vibrant sounds of folk traditions from Anatolia and Crete, and a powerful contemporary opera in the making centered on Emily Wilson's translation of the Odyssey. This year, Catherine Fleming, CEO and president of the J. Paul Getty Trust, is offering the Thalia Potamianos lectures on the impact of Greek culture. This year's theme, these 2 points of influence, Judaism, Hellenism, and modern Greece, explores the Greek and Jewish traditions together. The first lectures, Bakeries and Synagogues, the shared Greek and Jewish space of late imperial Mediterranean, was presented in January at the Getty Villa. The next will be in New York in May, and the final lecture will be here in Athens in October. Conferences and workshops are a valuable opportunity to present scholarly work and to collaborate with other institutions. The Wiener Lab held the 10th Bone Diagenesis meeting. We gathered here for the conference Macedonia and Sparta, a tale of two kingdoms in the Hellenistic period. The Gennadius Library held a symposium on the recently donated archive of Louis Brest, and another on Konstantinos Simonides. And we teamed up with the American Numismatic Society and National and Kapodistrian University for a conference on money and war. Our lecture series offers an opportunity to share the work of our senior scholars. The lecture posters stand as a visual record from the School in 5 Objects to the annual archives lecture by Jan Driessen, Taking Home Agamemnon. The Fitch-Wiener laboratories continue their very successful seminar collaboration, and Mac Marston delivered the annual lecture on agricultural strategies and environmental change. And the Gennadius, in addition to their exhibitions and symposia, had public talks this year exploring topics from modern Greek literature and poetry to the late Ottoman Empire. We have a wonderful group, the Fili of the Gennadius Library, and they continue a lively program of trips, special tours, and public lectures. In March, a new governing board was elected, with Ambassador Theodore Sotiropoulos succeeding Ambassador Catherine Boura as president. We thank Ambassador Boura and wish the new board every success. Now, while our events in Coates Hall attract large crowds, and it's always good to see people in person, our online programming also enables us to reach diverse and international crowds. Since the last open meeting, we have live-streamed 36 events and lectures with an online attendance of over 50,000 unique viewers. I think this is one of maybe the only great thing that came out of COVID was learning how to communicate remotely. Now, I'm very close, but I'm not entirely finished because we have news from the departments to share. Telespanos reports that construction of a new storage facility, the second new storage facility at ancient Corinth, is well underway, and this building will provide for long-term storage needs of the Corinth excavations. Plans for the Stoa of Attalus have also advanced. With the support of a generous grant from the Packard Humanities Institute, we will begin essential work on the roof. The rare collections of the Gennadion continue to grow thanks to the generosity of its overseers. Two stand out: a Venetian manuscript in which families who had financially supported the Mauryan War of the 1680s petitioned the Doge for admission into the ranks of the nobility, and an exceptionally rare find given to the library by overseer Natasha Lemos and her husband George, a Turkish translation of a treatise by the French military architect Vauban, prepared by the Phanariot Constantin Ypsilanti in 1781. The school's archives made significant expansions to their holding through 2 acquisitions of considerable research value. The papers of Philip Sherrod include his correspondence with the poet George Seferis, whose work he later translated into English with Mike Keeley, professor of modern Greek at Princeton University and longtime trustee of the American School. And the Wilson and Ellie Myers aerial photography collection, which represents another important acquisition. The Myers dedicated their life to developing innovative methods for aerial photography of ancient sites in the Mediterranean and the Near East, using cameras suspended from tethered hot air balloons. And these are magnificent images. For the Blagan Library, an enhanced digital floor plan was added to the library's web page to help visitors navigate. A survey conducted last spring queried users' preferences for print versus online material. Many users like both, but they prefer print when only one format can be chosen. And so we continue to build our print book collection. Wiener Laboratory faculty and researchers participated in a new study on the earliest preserved wood tools used by hominids, found at the, I want to be sure I get this exactly right, 430,000-year-old site, Marathusa I, in Megalopolis, Peloponnese. Characterized as an Ice Age refugium, Marathusa I famously preserves an elephant butchery site, lithic and bone artifacts, and diverse flora and fauna. The wood tools from Marathusa I are the earliest known handheld examples, enriching our understanding of hominid behavioral evolution. The Wiener Lab also launched a state-of-the-art 3D visualization and printing center with 2 high-resolution 3D printers and processing equipment. By transforming digital models into physical replicas, the new equipment supports a wide range of academic and public initiatives, from fieldwork and teaching to exhibition design and outreach. In addition to its academic program, the laboratory is also committed to engaging the wider public. Thanks to the Steinmetz Family Foundation, we will have a new educational program for school classes and students with their families to discover in the lab how scientific research helps us understand the ancient world. Through hands-on experience, young people will learn how researchers can reconstruct the everyday life of the past. And this gives me the opportunity also to just shout out for another program the Steinmetz Foundation has supported through the Steinmetz Fellowships at Ancient Corinth and the Athenian Agora. The fellows there are developing and delivering a wide range of activities, including on-site tours, virtual field trips, classroom lecture plans, and interactive programs. They've created 2 series of interviews, Agora Scholars Speak and Corinthian Conversations, which features interviews with scholars who discuss their research, career paths, and experience working on the school's excavations. Our Princeton-based publications office continues to produce important works related to the mission of the school. 2 new monographs have been published this year: Marble Statuettes of the Roman Period, Agora 39 by Brian Martins, and Malivoti Thrace, Archaeological Project, Volume 1, Landscape Architecture and Material Culture. It's the first of 4 planned volumes edited by Nathan Arrington, Thom Terzopoulos, Marina Tasaklaki, and Thomas Tartarin. Volume 94 of our journal Hesperia contains a fascinating mix of articles on Greece and the Greek world. We're proud that Michael Lindbaum's volume on Lerna, the shaft graves and other late Helladic I and II remains, was awarded the 2026 Anna Marguerite McCann Award for Fieldwork Reports by the Archaeological Institute of America. And in collaboration with the Hellenic Parliamentary Foundation, we published the conference proceedings for the Asia Minor Disaster and the Humanitarian Response, International Philanthropic Organizations and the Arrival of Refugees in Greece, 1918 to 1924, which is now freely accessible online. And here's another good thing. The ASCSA Publications is reissuing the Agora picture books in an updated full-color edition and a modern Greek translation. In closing this section of our presentation, I want to express my deep gratitude to our staff for making everything we do here possible and a joy. Thank you so very much to the staff, each and every one of you. And now I have the pleasure of introducing our speaker for the evening, Dr. Maria Georgopoulou, Director of the Gennadius Library. Over the last 20 years, Dr. Maria Georgopoulou has transformed the Gennadius Library from a scholarly repository of books to a vibrant intellectual center. An art historian by training, she began her career with an investigation of architecture and urbanism in Venetian Crete. But her work at the Gennadius Library has taken her across the history and material and intellectual culture of Greece, from the Byzantine to the modern. Tonight, she shares with us a rare asset of the Gennadius collections, the scrapbooks of the collector himself. I turn our program over, therefore, to Maria Georgopoulou to speak on Windows into a Collector's Mind, the scrapbook of Joannes Gennadius. Maria.
Thank you, Bonna, for this nice introduction, but mostly for giving us a snapshot, long snapshot of what the school has accomplished in the last year. I'm really honored to deliver this lecture at the open meeting on the occasion of the 100th anniversary of the Gennadius Library, a milestone in the history of an institution that has been established to house the private library of one man, Joannes Gennadius, who was born in Athens in 1844 and spent most of his life in London, where he managed to collect about 30,000 books on the history of Hellenism from the end of antiquity to the present. Gennadius was a diplomat who was passionate about books. The 30,000 titles he collected were his soulmates. The dictum he chose for his ex libris, for the sign he put on every book when he made the donation to the Gennadius Library, reads, "Acquire books, medicine of the soul, taste vivlia, psychis pharmaca." It comes from the church father Ioannis Chrysostomos, and truly, these were the things that made him happy. In 1922, Joannes Gennadius and his wife Florence, partner in life since 1902, offered their books to the American School of Classical Studies at Athens, in permanent trust, os parakatathiki esai. The deed of gift stresses the appreciation that Gennadius, by then a retired diplomat, had for the young nation of the United States of America and the trust he felt for the recipient of his beloved library, the American School of Classical Studies at Athens. Joannes Gennadius had a vision to bring his library to Athens and turn it into a global center for the study of Greek history, literature, and art, ancient, Byzantine, and modern. Gennadius inherited his passion for books and knowledge from his father, Georgios. Georgios Gennadius was an ardent supporter of the Greek Revolution, a scholar, a teacher, and founder of many important educational institutions in Greece, the University of Athens, the National Library, the Numismatic Museum, and many other cultural foundations. Ioannis began his collection after 1870, and by 1895 he had managed to gather important and rare books that preserved and showcased the continuity of the Greek culture and Hellenism. The Gennadius Library is mostly known for its rare books, chief among them the first edition of Homer, of the works of Homer, printed in Florence in 1488, that you can see in the exhibition, the paintings that illustrate the memoirs of General Makrigiannis, historical maps, books of travelers, church history, modern Greek literature, manuscripts, watercolors, and archives. All these attract thousands of scholars who specialize in the history and sculpture and culture of post-classical Greece. And they also, the core of the collection, has attracted many more donations, and I'm showing here this 17th century manuscript of the Akathistos hymn because it is the last Friday of Lent, and also because it is a very precious manuscript that was offered by Helen Stathatos. The library was housed in a grand neoclassical building designed by two American architects, John Van Pelt and Stuart Thompson, and funded by the Carnegie Corporation that donated $275,000 in 1922. It was named Gennadion in honor of the founder's father, George, and the inauguration took place with great academic pomp on April 23, 1926. Gennadius was here to deliver the opening speech. All this information that you heard on Tuesday, for those of you who were here for the opening of the exhibition, all this information is available to us in Gennadius's private personal archive that came to the library with his books, and in numerous scrapbooks that contain a lot of materials and ephemera. And this is the one scrapbook that is about the Gennadius library, the Gennadion. John Gennadius began collecting various engravings about Greece, and in order to preserve them, he started putting them on big notebooks, in large notebooks of about this size. And eventually these engravings became more and more. And eventually these scrapbooks became important sort of repositories of materials like clippings of newspapers, photographs, prints, pamphlets, maps, programs, invitations, and much more. For instance, here you see the invitation to a reception in honor of the emperor, the German emperor, who came to London on July the 10th, 1891. John Gennadius is referred to as His Excellency, the Greek minister, and of course he was ambassador in London at the time. In total, these 250 volumes span a wide range of subjects: historical, topographical, archaeological, ethnological, including costume and portraiture, architecture, arts, but we also have scrapbooks that are about books, about bibliographical information, and they also include old editions of very important and rare newspapers, as well as matters relating to Gennadius's family. Each volume typically consists of 60 to 70 large format pages, carefully arranged in intricate compositions. Documenting those is indeed a formidable undertaking. These are quite remarkable as the work of a single individual, both in their scope and their variety. A closer look at their organization reveals the themes that interested Gennadius, similar, obviously, with the themes that he was interested in when he collected books, and shows a clear correspondence between the subjects of the books, as I just said, and the contents of most of the scrapbooks. But there's much more. Today, what I will do is share with you a very small part and a glimpse of this material, part of which was digitized thanks to two European Union-funded projects in 2007 and 2024. These efforts addressed the library's pressing need to preserve and share this important source of information and for the study of modern Greek history, but not only. Its online publication has already proved to be a valuable research tool, and we think that this, of course, has a lot of potential and a lot of potential for educational material. Several scrapbooks document Joannes Gennadius and his family. His social life in London is richly illustrated in many of them. Here, for instance, you see on the right the program of the Royal Jubilee procession for Queen Victoria in June 22nd, 1897. And it also tells us, if you're careful what you see on the right, how weird the way in which Gennadius tried to glue this together on the paper is. You have to turn each page very carefully and read it on one side and on the other side. And I've put this here, an opening from this program, where you see the carriage of Queen Victoria in the middle and the procession. But you can imagine how difficult this is and complicated this is when you try to digitize it and when you try to catalog it. So this is why this material we have been working on this for quite a while. Scrapbooks on prosopography and historical events have been used widely by researchers over the years. There are about 4 portrait albums, numbers 25 to 28, featuring figures related to the heroes of 1821 and the later history of the 19th century and the early 20th century. Here on the left, you see portraits of Ali Pasha, including one in the middle, in the upper part, of an actor who is acting in a theatrical play about Ali Pasha in Paris. And on the right, you see photographs of the new parliamentarians, members of parliament in 1908. So parts of this collection are known to a wider audience, and part of this collection, especially of history and prosopography, have been used in the multi-volume history of the Greek nation, published by Εκδοτική Αθηνών, a book and a collection that was very highly used in the last quarter of the 20th century. Unfortunately, all the indications about the provenance of the photographs in this big history of the Greek nation just say Gennadius Library, and they don't give a reference. So this has been one of the reasons why we had to work with this collection very carefully and make it more available, more easily available to the public. The albums on topography and the printing press and the press and newspapers include caricatures, both Greek and foreign, and Gennadius calls them xenike, are of special interest. Even a brief look at this collection of caricatures indicates and opens up fascinating avenues for exploring the satirical lens through which historical events were perceived in both Greece and the United Kingdom. This animated, I wanted to say anthropomorphic, but I'm not sure this is the right word. This animated map is one of the most well-known European political cartoon maps made for most of the times for propaganda. Entitled Serio-Comic War Map for the year 1877, this famous octopus satirical map was first published in March of 1877, 2 months after Russia attacked the Ottoman Empire in response to the Turkish massacre of Christian Bulgarians, represented here by a skull, where Bulgaria is. For a long time, the author of this map was not known, as he signed by 3 initials, but it has since been established that this was one of the masterpieces of the British graphic artist Fred Rose, who spent his life of 40-some years as a civil servant, and this was a side job. Some volumes are particularly rich in primary source material. Those devoted to the War of 1897, which is the scrapbook number 36, and the Balkan Wars of 1912 to 1913, volume 35, preserve unique documents gathered by Gennadius himself, including original photographs of political and military life, alongside rare contemporary materials from newspapers. Next to the volumes celebrating the diplomatic life and work of Joannes Gennadius, we can also see several volumes devoted to costume that complement the books that Joannes Gennadius owned on the topic. And it's very important here that we have a full series of the volumes of Nikolai. The Greek Revolution scrapbooks contain rare single-leaf publications, almanacs, engravings from the naval battle of Navarino, and much, much more. Allow me to dwell a bit longer on scrapbooks that illustrate significant events in Joannes Gennadius' life, but also things that do not necessarily correlate with his book collection. For instance, these three photographs show you his visit to the Universal Exhibition, to the Exposition Universelle of Paris in 1889, and his reflections and photographs of the Eiffel Tower, as well as many of the festivities that took place around that exhibition. So that's a quite unique album, and I don't think we can find many similar things here in Athens. Even more so unique are his scrapbooks on his transatlantic crossing travel to the United States in 1893 and the return in 1894. Not only do we get glimpses of life in the United States, hotels where he lived and so on and so forth, but we also get a fascinating source of this is a fascinating sort of information on the journey itself. Gennadius has kept images and photographs of whatever was going on the steamship that crossed the Atlantic, from the ticket of how much he had to pay for his luggage, to programs of concerts on board, and the invitation to join the captain's table for dinner. The same year, he also visits the Universal Exhibition in Chicago, the Columbia exhibition, which celebrates the 400th anniversary of the discovery of America by Columbus. And here I show you the Ferris wheel that impressed him so much. But he also has images from many other important things in that exhibition. Many more of the pages of the scrapbooks from his life in London give information on his personal life. And this is something tantalizing because there's a lot that we don't know about Gennadius. This spread, for instance, contains cards, holiday cards, that were sent to him by his two sisters, Elpida and Kleoniki, for Christmas 1899 and the New Year in January of 1900. I was very interested to read something in the lower part that the two sisters wish him to find a suitable wife. They must have thought he would never marry. He was already 55 years old, but he did marry 2 years later, Florence. I mean, these are very sort of unique and very warm family things that we see here. And if you see on the card on top that I've put on the right, this is the Christmas card, and the two sisters write to him in French. Next to these family mementos, we see an X-ray of his hand. And a bit further down in the pages, there's information on this new technology of X-rays. He was clearly impressed about this. But was there a system? Did he put things together? We think we understand that the date is approximate and he puts together material that come at the same time, but it is very hard to find something that really ties everything together. This next page that I'm showing will get us a little bit further into the complex manner in which he added material on these pages. This spread contains 13 items, including menus from restaurants and a stab from a theater ticket, this pink thing up there. Under what seems to be an advertisement for a Hammond typewriter, there are 5 letters glued one next to the other, related to his membership to 2 London clubs, the National Liberal Club and Union Club. He seems to have been very keen on such honorific ways in which that would allow him to really be part of this kind of social life in England. And I wanted to say that after 1895, he was no longer part of the embassy in England, so it must have been extremely hard for him to be able to remain a part of this world. Several scrapbooks were selected for digitization according to their state of preservation and the wealth of the materials that they contained. And for us, we had to select, then they had to be marked accordingly by the catalogers before they were given to the expert team of digitization. And of course, everything had to happen with the utmost attention so that this material, some of it, of which is very brittle, would not fall apart. And then once you started digitizing, you had to capture every part of the material. So what you see here are 2 sides, are 2 views of a single opening. But as you see, maybe on the right, a little bit better, this is a newspaper. He has folded part of the newspaper and glued it on the back. So if you want to take a picture of the whole thing, you have to take it twice. You have to capture it twice. And then we got these images, and these images would go to the catalogers, and this is the most important and more difficult task, and something extremely significant for the dissemination and the understanding of the scrapbooks. 4 historians marked the scrapbooks and carefully cataloged the material in a database that is entitled RIPOX, and this is where most of our materials, digital materials, now reside. Fields were selected and information was entered with diligence and attention, and some sweat. There was an art historian who was trying to catalog material on the Greek loans, so the information was not always very easy. Then the information was parsed and checked against large international databases with the use of AI to match and enrich the historical information, especially in what concerns place names and people's names. Let me now share with you 3 distinct cases that were of particular significance to Joannes Gennadius. It's not going to take long, so that maybe we can appreciate a little bit better the way he collected and assembled the material. And this is the back end of the repository, what the catalogers would see. So we start with the Villesi murders in 1870. The shocking events known as the Villesi murders, or the murders of Marathon, that happened in 1870, deeply disturbed Joannes Gennadius, who had been living in London since 1862, employed by the prominent commercial Greek firm of the Raleigh brothers. There he associated with young men of refinement, wealth, and influence, but he was troubled by the prevailing pro-Turkish sentiment in England and by a general distortion of Greece's image and values. He made it his personal mission to defend his homeland by publishing articles in newspapers were under a pseudonym, setting out historical and statistical evidence of the rapid material progress that Greece and Greeks were making. All his letters were published, bringing recognition and satisfaction to the Greek community in London. But in April 1870, an incident intensified anti-Greek sentiment in England. A band of brigands kidnapped a group of foreign tourists near Marathon. Some of them were British, and while negotiations were taking place for their release, the murder of 3 of the captives provoked furious reactions and a surge of anti-Greek feeling in England. And so this incident seemed to undermine Gennadius' claim that Greece was more mature and stable. And here, you see a photograph of Frank Noel, one of the British subjects who survived this incident. The British press stirred public opinion against the Greeks. The directors of Raleigh Brothers, aware of what their young employee might do, told him to stay put. But Gennadius thought otherwise. He thought that it was his sacred duty to respond. And he sat down and wrote an extensive pamphlet, Recent Murders by Brigands in Greece, where he was trying to exonerate his fellow Greeks. And on the day before this was going to be talked about, discussed in Parliament, he hired a cab and distributed this pamphlet to all the members of the House of Lords and the House of Commons. The result, he was fired from his job, but he was soon hired by the Greek embassy in London. And what we see here are pages and pages of articles, clippings, and press publications concerning his pamphlet, concerning all the reactions of the newspapers. The identity of the pamphlet's author was revealed, and the courage of Joannes Gennadius was commended. And on the right, here, you can see a list of the people who contributed to the publication of the pamphlet, and this is a list of Greeks, of the Greek community in London. And he has more and more information of articles, and on the right is a petition of him to the Greek Minister of Finance to pay for the translation of the material and the publication of the material in Greek. So you understand that this was something very important to him, and being a man of 25 years old, he really reacted with passion. Another event that seems to take a big part of the scrapbooks are the modern Olympics. We do not really know how much Gennadius was involved with the Olympics, but we know that he had a very close relationship with Dimitrios Vikelas, who was the first president of the International Olympic Committee, and a person who played a vital role in bringing the first modern Olympics to Athens in 1896. And here you see images from the restoration of the Panathinaik Stadium, images from newspapers, a caricature, a sketch of the medal given to Spiros Louis, who won the marathon, photographs, caricatures, and even a ticket to get into the Olympics. So important events for which one should read very carefully the material and to appreciate what Gennadius was up to. I will close with an incident that happened at the end of Joannes Gennadius' life. It showcases his significant diplomatic skills in the context of cultural diplomacy and lies very much in contrast to the impulsive reaction he had during the incident of the Dilesi murders. This is a publication, or rather material that he used for publication of a little book on antiquities and the looting of antiquities. And the whole scrapbook is entitled Archaeology, Lord Elgin. His long association with British intellectuals in London allowed Gennadius to form an opinion about how, and a foresight of how to act regarding Greek antiquities. He knew from his books and from the travelers' books how important antiquities had been for European travelers to Greece, and how many of these antiquities were looted from the 1440s onward. And what we are seeing here is actually his way of bringing together information about the theft of antiquities. And this is a confidential letter from Joannes Gennadius to Nikolaos Balanos, dated 12 May of 1927. And Balanos, he talks to Balanos about the restoration of the Parthenon, and then he tells him a secret, and he tells him that he has to keep absolute discretion. Because what Joannes Gennadius has been trying to do is to talk to the keeper of the antiquities of the British Museum and ask for the restitution of a column drum and a capital from the British Museum to Greece. But he asks for a complete discretion because he knows how important this is in the negotiations. A few pages later, we realize that this has leaked to the press, and the keeper of the British Museum is no longer able to move on with this restitution. So we understand that this is a way in which Joannes Gennadius is seen as sort of playing a role in cultural diplomacy, something that we will see happening much later, but obviously something that didn't have the effect that he would hope it did. And Natalia Vogeikov knows quite a bit about that, because there is a lot of information also in the archive of Joannes Gennadius. So it's also, though, to me, a way of understanding how a young man of 25 years old and a man in his sort of late 70s, how different they are and how differently they approach the world and the problems that are in front of them. What I know, and I'm sure of, is that the more we look into the material of the scrapbooks, the more we will know about Joannes Gennadius and his world. And if you want to look at this, there are about more than 12,000 items that have been catalogued. There are many more that have been scanned, and we're in the process of working on them. So you can go on our website and you can type a keyword of your liking or that you need to know about, preferably in Greek, because most of the material is in Greek. And we also have a relatively small exhibition that sort of leads you into the world of the scrapbooks, and as you see here. So I thank you very much for your attention, and as Bonna said, I hope you will be able to visit the exhibition in the Makrigiannis wing either tonight or in the days to come. Tomorrow we have a tour scheduled at 12:30, and thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Maria. Thanks so much to all the members of the American School for all they have done, and for all of the rest of you who are so supportive of our mission. And I invite you to a reception. I'm not entirely sure where it will be. I know it's going to be outside these doors, and if there's no rain, it will be outside. So we're holding our fingers for a reception on the platea in front of Coatson Hall. Thank you so much for coming.
In the beginning was the Word. Then he spoke, and the sea was born. And I saw, and I marveled. And in it he sowed small worlds in my image and likeness. Stone steeds with manes erect, and serene amphora, and dolphins slanting backs. Ios, Sikinos, Serifos, Milos. Each word a swallow, to bring you spring in the midst of summer, he said. Greece is a small country, but its tradition is immense and has been handed down through the centuries without interruption. The Greek language has never ceased to be spoken. It has undergone the changes that all living things experience, but there has never been a gap. This tradition is characterized by love of the human, he said. Many wise men and learned foreigners write about Greece. For myself, it was but one thing that pushed me to do so. It is that this homeland, we all share it together. Wise or ignorant, rich or poor, even the humblest folk. We are in the we, not the I.